Hey, good morning, good lunchtime, good afternoon, good whatever it is, whenever you're here. It's a standing up sort of day. I had myself all set up to sit down, all nicely arranged. I thought, no, I don't want to sit down. Hey, it must be the power of today's message. That's probably it. But I really felt I got to stand up. So, listen, so great to be here with you on day 5 of boot camp. No, no, it's not that. It's blind spot to breakthrough boot camp. Lovely to see you there. And you know what I would love you to do as you come on? Oh, Sophie, lovely to see you there. It's so nice to see you all showing up every day. It really encourages me if this is useful for you. And it really encourages me to do more. If you would share this so that we can bring more people into our circle, into this good stuff. If you find this is useful, this is good material for you, good encouragement, good inspiration, good coaching, would you share it? We can bring more people in here, on here, and share this message and uplift, because we are in interesting times, ladies and gents. Make no mistake. And it's a challenge. And that's okay. We're up to it. It is a challenge to stay on our game, to stay positive, to stay empowered, to make life work in every single regard. Because you know what it's like? If you lose your mojo, life's pretty difficult, right? So keeping that mojo, keeping your spirit strong, keeping your motivation strong, it's just the foundation, right? Would you agree? It's just the foundation. You got to have it in place to everything else. I mean, look, I can teach you strategies, and I'm going to do a lot of strategy teaching in September, specifically on making your business work. But the truth is, the foundation for that is it's your mojo. It's your mojo. It's your morale. It's your motivation. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So, today is the day when I want to give you a really obvious clue, a really simple way of discerning what that blind spot is, or actually, more accurately and more importantly, where your breakthrough is. I did something out of the ordinary a little while ago, and you might have noticed what that was. You might not have, but I want to share with you what it was. I want to share with you why I did it, because some people might have been confused and thinking, why would I do that? So I did a one-woman show in London, in a theatre in London. And it wasn't just speaking. I've been speaking at events and speaking on stages for, quite some time. But this was different. This was another level. This was, first of all, it had to be much more theatrical because it was in a theatre. It couldn't be boring. It just couldn't be boring. So it just had to have elements of theatre in it. And I brought on a director. I worked with a director who directs shows. And I took my material and I got his help to turn it into something that would be lighter, funny, and still make the points that I wanted to make. I called it a semi-show. Part seminar, mostly show. Now, the reason I did that was I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to stretch myself. And it wasn't because I was planning, a new career in theatre or I wanted to play the Palladium or something. It wasn't that. It was the fact that I wanted to do something that would really stretch me. Because here's the thing about being stretched and stretching yourself. When you stretch yourself, you never spring back to the same place. You never spring back to the same place. You spring back to a place that is greater, than if you hadn't done it. Is this making sense, guys? Yes or no? So I'm going to be honest, I was super scared, Lordy, because it was so different from what I'd done before. I was illustrating the teaching points with stories. So I was deepening my skill as a storyteller, and I was also having to be willing to be very vulnerable in order to turn it into an enjoyable evening's entertainment. Because if you think about it, it was sort of edutainment. There was a degree of education in it, but there was a lot of entertainment. I tell you why that's important these days. If any of you want to do speaking on stages or even online, but especially in a live situation, the reason it's really important to get good at making something entertaining is because people's attention span has really dwindled, in the past 20 years, but especially in the past 2 years. Because when people get stressed, they scroll more, they scan more, and their attention span reduces. So for us to hold people's attention, we have to work harder. And in my experience, we need to be lighter in the way that we present. We cannot be heavy. We cannot go in with tons of information. We can't be preachy because people will just switch off. And I don't want to bore people, right? The last thing I want to do is bore people. So I had to really expand myself. I brushed up on my singing. I took singing lessons ahead of time because part of what I was demonstrating involved singing. I don't want to go into detail, but it involved singing. So I came on the stage singing, you see, to illustrate a point. So I did that and I came out of it, I would say, pretty transformed. Because what I noticed was that places that I previously had hesitated about approaching to speak at, I suddenly had no hesitation, because those places, by comparison, would be easy. Having put myself through that really terrifying experience of being on a stage in a theater, and it's all black, so you can't actually see people's faces. So it was completely different from what I'd done before. I want to tell you about my client, Una, because this really illustrates a point that I'm going to bring to you in a second. So I gave Una a challenge a little while ago. And I said, oh, Una, come on, you need to do something bigger, my darling. I mean, you really do. I just know there's a growth spurt waiting for you. How many of you feel there's a growth spurt waiting for you? Could you put a G in there? Like really, a growth spurt. A G, put a G in there. So I said, listen, there's a growth spurt. I know there's a growth spurt waiting for you. And I said, let's identify what that could look like. And she came up with a couple of suggestions. And then I said, it's not big enough. I just don't think that's going to give you that growth that's available to you right now. And I said, you need to do something much bigger. You need to be on a national stage in your industry, in your field. You need to be, you need to be seen as this authority, as this expert in front of the leaders in your industry. This is in Ireland. And one of the main things Una does is she's a hospitality expert, consultant in that industry. And literally about a week later, she got this invitation from the Irish Hospitality Board. But I mean, it's that body, right, that embraces hospitality in Ireland. And they said, hey, would you be available next Monday? Because we had a speaker arranged, but they can't do it now. So, that phrase, all my clients have my voice in their head at a point like that, because opportunity comes and you don't hesitate. You simply say yes, and you figure it out later, right? Yes, and you figure it out later. So she did that, and she did it well. And guess what happened? They said, listen, we have our national conference, like our 1 year thing conference coming up. It was like 3 weeks later or a month later or something. And we'd love for you to be one of our keynote speakers. Keynote speakers, by the way, get paid. They get paid a very decent amount. But almost more importantly, you're elevated. I mean, you're really elevated when you're a keynote speaker, and you're perceived instantly in front of all those people that you want to influence as an expert and an authority. So she did it. We worked on it. We got a great talk together. And we were talking about this yesterday. It's really probably changed her entire life. It's not too big to say that, because straight away people were coming to her, literally running after her. She left the stage saying, oh, I've been meaning to call you. We've got to talk. Da 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 da. Everything that she wanted, those big contracts with those bigger chains, all of that is now beginning to come, because she did the thing that was going to give her her growth, the growth spurt. She did the thing that she had been resisting. And she's getting the rewards as a result. So I put it to you that there is something that is, or if there is something that is eluding you, it's because, okay, it could be because you're resisting doing the thing that's going to get you that growth. You're resisting the thing that's going to give you that growth, right? I mean, look, I love the law of attraction. Don't get me wrong. I love all of that. But here's the thing. The biggest mistake that I see with people who practice that is they don't take enough action. If this resonates with you, could you put an A in that thread? I can see it. I am all for getting aligned and being positive and, being a vibrational match to your desire. I love all of that. I really do. And when I see people not getting the results that they want, I see the thing that's missing is action. And here's what I also really see, I'll be honest. I see that, first of all, I want to ask you a question. How many of you are truly committed? Truly committed, put a C, to your growth spurt, to your growth. Because, not everyone is super driven, and that's okay. I don't understand how one can't be, because we've got this one life, right? This time around anyway. So we got to make the most of ourselves. We got to get those talents out of us in the service of others for our own good and the good of all. But what I also see is people trying to do everything on their own. Why would you want to do that? So if you're someone who's truly committed to that growth spurt, that next level for you, in every area of yourself and your life and your business, put a C there. Put a C for committed. Because the truth is, you may be trying to do it yourself. You may be trying to do it alone, which means it's harder for you to progress. It's also tougher. It's also a lonely place. So, when I worked with Una, we got a great talk. We worked on it like crazy. She rehearsed it to within an inch of her life. So there was no, we removed the fear and the risk as far as possible, right? So that when she stepped up on that stage, she was good to go. She had the funny bits worked out. She had the serious bits worked out. She had the call to action afterwards. She knew what she was offering afterwards. But I spoke to her last night and she said, I am ready to go places that I wasn't ready to go before. I am ready to directly go to those places and speak to them. And she looks different. She actually looks different. And she just looks empowered. She just looks like a confident person in possession, in possession, in possession of their power, in possession of themselves. And here's the thing, for you to sell anything, for you to succeed in any area of life and business, you have to exude that confidence. You just have to. Because it's very hard for people to buy into what we're offering, to invest in getting our help, especially in these times when people are going to be very cautious about where they put their money. It's very hard for people to do that unless they feel confident in us, unless they feel our confidence in ourselves. It's very hard. So she said, yeah, because of that talk, because of doing that, I am now a changed person. I don't feel there's anywhere that I couldn't go. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Do you see? And that wasn't just about, hey, I could do another talk there. Hey, I could do another talk there. It wasn't actually just about that. Though there is that. No, it's about, hey, what was I thinking of? Like, what was I thinking of? It's transformed her confidence. It's actually a little bit like fire walking, or a little bit like what fire walking is meant to do, right? So I remember doing fire walking with Tony Robbins like about a zillion years ago, right? And I honestly, I mean, it was a great thing to do. I can't say that that was the moment, the thing, the event that changed my life and how I saw myself. And what I also observed was that people did that fire walking, and very often it did not, they did not make that, use that to change their life, to do bolder, bigger things in their life. It didn't make them bolder, bigger versions of themselves, which I guess is the idea, and I guess you would expect. And then I had some challenges in my life. And then I remember thinking, going through those challenges, do you know what? This is bigger than that fire walk. You know, this is much more difficult than that fire walk. This is much more challenging than that fire walk. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to walk through this fire, if you like. And I know that in doing so, I'm going to be transformed as a result. So, real life. That's the real fire walk. Real life is the real firework. Is this firework, fire walk? Is this making sense, guys? So, if this is resonating with you, and if you are clear that you are that person who actually is committed, put a C there, and I'm going to reach out to you because I put some time aside tomorrow morning, in fact, and I will have a chat with you. Or one of us will reach out to you, one of my team will reach out. But the truth is, if you're super committed, you don't want to try and do this stuff on your own. Why would you do that? Anyone who is surging ahead in any way is doing it because they've put themselves, frankly, they're getting coached. They have someone who is seeing those blind spots, helping you see them, pulling you forward. Don't try and do it alone. Don't try and do it alone. Get into an environment of people who are driven and who are dynamic, making things happen, and get yourself a great mentor, coach who's pulling you forward, you know, who wants the best for you, who is maybe further along than you are in some areas, in the areas that you want to progress in, and commit, because life is short. I've had some messages from some of you who are, you know, who have more time behind you than you have in front. It's a sobering thought, I know, guys, but it's the truth. So none of us are getting any younger. This is the time. Maybe this is your time, this moment, this wake-up call, which you're hearing today, to really take yourself seriously and get what you need that's going to take you to that next stage, and also without it being a struggle, you know? So it's fun and enjoyable and not torturous, right? Because where's the fun in that? So tell me what you are hearing. So what I'm saying is there is an action, there is an activity that is waiting for you to claim. And when you claim that, when you go through that, you will come out the other side a transformed person. You will. You cannot snap back to a smaller place. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are thinking, yes, but what if it didn't go well? What if my event hadn't gone well? What if Una's talk hadn't gone well? Well, here's the thing. You don't fling yourself, in my opinion, you don't fling yourself into something without decent preparation. And I have seen people do that. And I have seen it backfire pretty badly, I'll be honest. Because look, we're sensitive people. Confidence is a fragile thing. If you do put yourself out there and you haven't done enough prep and you haven't put the effort in, it could. I mean, you could be sensationally lucky and it just go brilliantly, but it could go badly wrong. And like I say, I've been in situations where I've watched people and I thought, oh Lord, this is not great. This is not so good. So, you know, be sensible. Get the right help. Like I know people said to me, why would you pay that money and work with a director? You don't need to do that. You can get on a stage and talk. I had people say that. Why are you wasting your time and money on that? And the reason is because I want to take myself to a next level. So there's no point me preaching, you know, invest in yourself. Take yourself seriously. Get the right mentoring if I'm not doing it myself. And I knew that I would learn so much from working with a theatre director. He would take a different approach. He would see things and show me things that I wouldn't otherwise see or know to do. So I put a lot of effort in to making sure that that show worked. And the thing is, people, it's not just about you. It's not just about you doing well at the event on the day. Here's what it's also about. It's about the other people, right? It's about the other people. Because, you know, whether the people in my audience had been paying or not, they were all paying, they'd all bought a ticket. But, you know, even if they hadn't, even if I'd just given them free seats, I am still asking for their time. They will never get that time back. They are giving me their time. They're trusting, as you are here now with me, and thank you for that. You're trusting that this time is going to be time well spent. So look, let's be sensible and let's be responsible. And let's not fling ourselves. I'm not saying we have to be perfectionists and never get the darn thing done, right? But I'm saying one doesn't need to fling oneself into something without doing the due care and putting the due effort in, right? Is this making sense, guys? You know, when I did that stage thing, it was like scripted to within an inch of its life. I never do that. I have bullet points. You know, I have a framework. I have a structure when I'm doing a talk that I work with. I never in my life have written out a script. Never. I have never timed it so that I'm doing 7 minutes there and 5 minutes there and 10 minutes there. Never in my whole life. And he said, you need to do that. You need to do that. And gave me lots of reasons why it was a good idea. I said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And of course he was right. Of course it made for a better experience all round, especially if it's in a theatre and you've got stuff and other people going off and they need you to stick with that script so they know what to do at a certain time. So, my darlings, what are you hearing? Janet, so good to see you. Oh, I love that, Janet. And what would happen if it did go well? Exactly. What happens is you're a changed person. You're a transformed person. You're a charged person. I don't mean that you're changed, that you're not you, but you're that bigger version of you. Who wants to be the biggest version of themselves? Can you please put a B for big in that thread? Of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. You certainly wouldn't be listening to me. Of course you do. Sophie, lovely to see you there. Annie, lovely to see you there. Harvey, lovely to see you there. Yeah, absolutely. Elaine, pretty flowers. Beautiful. Beautiful. So, yeah, this is about taking yourself seriously. Yeah, not being cheap and trying to do stuff, on a wing and a prayer. Taking yourself seriously. Getting the help to get clear on what that next level is and getting the help to get good. Some of you are hard on yourselves and you do something and it might not be perfect. And you think, well, I should be able to do it and just be perfect. Hello. No. You get the help and then you get good. You get the help and then you get good. You practice. You keep doing it. You commit to excellence. I had someone recently who did a talk and she said, oh my God, I just thought I would be so much better. I said, darling, it's the first time you've done it. It's the first time you've done it. We got a great structure, a great talk, and it's the first time you've done it. You're on a path now, a lifelong path of improvement. Every time a professional does a gig, whether it's a comedian or whether it's a speaker, someone who's really committed to excellence will sit down and review what they did. And they will ask the question, what could I do differently next time to make it better? Right? So, my darlings, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to look at my diary next week, and I'm absolutely going to be here next week. And I'll put the times out here as soon as I know. I love that, Janet. Every day is a school day. Oh, that's so true. So true. Every day is a school day. All right, my darlings, thank you so much for being here. And if you're watching on the replay, put your answers here in the thread. I will see them. I will come back. And I will be here next week, and I'll be talking to some of you before then. I know that for sure. All right, my darlings, have an amazing day. And the clue to your breakthrough is in what you are resisting. You know it's there, and you're resisting it. Think on that. All right, my darlings, have an amazing day. Stay cool. Take care. Bye.